4, which is elimination, and we'll finish it up on the next day. But we are going to be looking at example A, which is on page 347 in your book. So JP is thinking of two numbers, but he won't say what they are. He tells you that the sum of the two numbers is 163 and that their difference is 33. Find the two numbers. Okay, and it tells us we're going to write a system of equations, and we're going to use the elimination method to solve this. So we have worked on system equations already, and when we did that, we looked at them graphically, which you can see over here now. I'm not going to show us the answer to that yet, but we can see that they cross. And remember, in a system of equations where the graphs intersect, that intersection point is our solution. And we've also done it with substitution. And today we're going to learn another method, which is elimination. And it's called elimination because we're going to eliminate one of the variables. Okay, so the first thing we need to do is to set up our system. So we have, first, he tells us that the sum of the two numbers is 163. So I've written up here and I've defined my variables already. I said that f is the first number and s is the second number. So the first number plus the second number equals 163. And then my second equation is going to be for the second part, which is that the difference between them is 33. So I'm going to take my first number minus my second number and I get 33. Okay? So that's my system of equations, and I got that from using what they gave us in that example of the problem. And then I know that if I graph them, they will intersect. I can see that on Desmos there. And so I'm going to show you how to do this by elimination. And elimination is we're going to actually add these equations together. Okay, so I'm going to move them over here so I can add them. And when we do this, it's really important to remember what that equal sign means. That equal sign means that both things on either side of it are actually the same. So f minus s is the same as 33, right? And f plus s is the same as 163. So when I add them, I'm going to take this expression, which has the same value as 33, I'm going to take this expression and add it to this side. And I'm going to take this expression, which is a constant, and add it to this constant, right? Because they're the same. So that's why it's allowed. So when I add these, right, I get f plus f, which is 2f. And then I have s plus negative s, which is 0. Okay? And then 163 plus 133. Okay? And now I have this new equation that I can work with. Okay, so I've changed this top one into this by adding the same thing to both sides. Okay, and now I'm just going to end up solving that. So divide by 2 on both sides. Equals 98. Okay, and then to find my value for s, I'm going to take 98 and I'm going to substitute it into one of these equations. So if I start with this top one, then I can take my value for f and substitute it in here so you can see what's happening. Okay, and then we'll go ahead and solve that. So I'm going to subtract 98 from both sides. Let's see, 5, so s equals 65. Okay, and I can also do the same thing using the bottom equation. And for f, again, I will substitute in 98. And then to solve this, I can add s to both sides. And subtract 33. So I get 65 equals s. So either way, I get the same value. And we would list that as the answer. We'd have a point of 65, oh, based on what I did here, I do 98, 65. Okay. And then when I go to check on Desmos, I can come over here. And there's my point, 9865. One thing I want to point out here is that my variables on Desmos are different than on here. So here, I was able to represent it with F and S, F for first, S for second. In Desmos, you have to use X and Y because they're using a graphing interface. So we have the X-axis and the Y-axis. So in this case, X and F would be the same. They both represent the first number. And Y is representing the second number, which is the same as S. Okay, so that is the first part of elimination. And then there will be a second video on doing the same thing, but a little bit more complicated.